I didn't go to fashion school. I didn't go to any handmade school. I didn't pay anyone for training. I didn't even know anyone who could train me at the time, even if I wanted to. Everything I know about my business, Elvin Craft, I learned from YouTube. It all started with one search, one click that changed the trajectory of my life. And here we are today. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. Something I like to call a free university. So if you're looking to learn a skill and you don't have money to pay an expert, stick around. You're probably going to learn a thing or two from my own journey. Hi everyone, if you're new here, my name is Elvin, but the people here call me Skilled Elvin. I'm a creative entrepreneur, an environmental engineer, a mother to 4 beautiful kids, and this is my little corner of the internet where I share my life's experiences, lessons life has taught me so far, and the opinions I've formed along the way. This is like my little chit-chat area. So if you'd like to hang out with me from time to time, please make sure to subscribe and become a part of our community. Let's get back to today's story. So for those who don't know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Or I used to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't know whether this phase of my life I'm still a stay-at-home mom, right? Yeah, but I used to be a stay-at-home mom. I struggled a lot with postpartum depression and a whole lot of other things that come with being a stay-at-home mom, right? And I needed to find something, maybe a hobby or just something that kind of drifted or took my mind a little bit, what I would call maybe my little escape from motherhood. And in all this, I fell in love with crochet bags. Like I said, I was a stay-at-home mom, so no money to pay an expert, no time to go out, learn, and come back home. It was just me, my kids in the little corner of my house. And just like that, I enrolled in what people jokingly call the YouTube University. So first of all, when I wanted to learn crochet bags, the person who inspired me to learn, I never stopped saying it, was Hooked by Lade. Her page was the very first page I saw of crochet bags, and I fell in love with crochet bags. She was in Nigeria, I was in Cameroon. There was just no way I was traveling to Nigeria. I was a stay-at-home mom, so there was just no way I was traveling to Nigeria to go and learn a skill. I think at the time she wasn't. I think I wrote to her, and she wasn't even training at the time, right? So it was just not even happening. I even reached out to. Eventually, I found a few Ghanaians who were also into crochet bags, but I reached out to them, and a few of them were training, yes, but the fee I could not afford it at the time. So what did I do? I went to YouTube and I searched crochet bags, and then there were tons of tutorials that I did not even know existed. You know, there's so much you can find on YouTube. You just need to come and search, and then you suddenly realize, funny enough, a video on how to boil water, you find it. A video on just any random thing. Like all you have to do is search on YouTube, and you're going to find something that will get you rolling. So I came to YouTube and I searched. To the glory of God, we had free. My husband subscribes for unlimited internet access at home, so internet wasn't an issue for me. So I went to YouTube and I searched. I found tons of videos on different crochet bags. I could not come up with designs on my own, so I could only recreate designs that I saw on people's pages, right? Especially on Hooked by Lade's page. I was really glued to her page at the time. Then next off, I went to our local market here. I started to outsource some materials. I would show designs to the people who are selling, craft materials and stuff like that. I didn't find the materials I was looking for. I would come back, I would watch different creators, maybe try to see yarns that could be substituted for that particular design that I wanted to make. I would go back to the market, try to find the material that I needed for the particular design, and I would not find. And at some point, I gave up on crochet bags because in this part of the world where I am, Cameroon, at the time, this was like 5 years ago, I wasn't finding. I even asked my friends in other towns, I sent them pictures who are maybe versed with the market and stuff. I was like, okay, can you go to the market and check if you would find these materials, if you would find somebody. I did not find what I was looking for at the time. I remember I would spend nights. I wrote to people in China, I wrote to people in Turkey. In all of this, how much money did I have? I didn't have that much money. So even if I wanted to import, cost of importation and stuff. I remember one time even I was like, okay, let me even buy few samples from China and import and see what it looks like. Maybe if it is, good quality, I would maybe buy more, see what to do. I bought a few things. They came from China. They were not what I wanted. They were not what I was hoping. No, what it was. The results I was getting from making the bags wasn't really what I was expecting. I wrote to people from Brazil, people in China. Just there were nights where I would just be on my phone, out checking suppliers, checking who sells this. I was really looking, but I didn't stop there. While I was trying to get suppliers for crochet bags, of course, the yarn that we had here locally was for beach wears. The normal yarn that is used for crochet dresses, right? So At some point, I realized, okay, I had to start from somewhere. The materials I wanted, I couldn't find them. So I had to start from somewhere. Like I said, I was really excited about crochet at the time. So I started with beach wears. I bought yarns and I started doing crochet beach wears. I made a few samples. I showed them off. And they were like, oh, this is good. You're really good at this thing. You should, try to market it. You should. But I didn't exactly market those beach wears because even though I was excited about making them, I was excited about, creating them and stuff, it did not resonate with what I was after. You get? It wasn't what I wanted to do. It was off. Something was off. The more I tried, the more I realized my creative inclination wasn't towards crochet clothing. It wasn't towards beach wears. Every time I was scrolling and I saw somebody trying to do a crochet bag, I would stop scrolling. I knew that my purpose, my calling was towards crochet bags, right? But there I was. And I know that there are a lot of people who are maybe stuck in something like this, and you just know that this is not really where I want to be. I know like, a lot of people can probably resonate with this feeling because you're doing something and you feel like this is not really it for me. I need to be elsewhere. That was exactly the feeling I was having when I was doing those beach wears. So apart from the few that I made and maybe left in the house, I traveled with some. I know I just showed a few people, but it wasn't really giving for me. I just had a natural affinity for bags. When I initially started with the beach wears, I was learning from YouTube as well. Every design I have ever made, I'm not gonna lie, every design I have ever no, not ever, every design I started with in the first like 2 years of my business, right? I learned it all from YouTube. Now I can just look at a bag and say, oh, this is how this bag is done. You need this stitch, you need this stitch, you need that. That wasn't the case in my initial years. I needed YouTube to survive. And learning from YouTube wasn't a walk in the park either. It was a lot of patience because this is not somebody teaching you. Maybe I'll try to do this, and then it was a lot of patience because you're trying to watch the video. Maybe sometimes when you're faster than the creator, you have to forward, rewind, all of that. And it also needed a lot of consistency because sometimes you learn this pattern today and then maybe you want to come back tomorrow. Today maybe it's double crochet I'm working more with. Tomorrow is single crochet. I had to keep showing up every day. If not, I was going to forget because like I said, it was a learning process. And if you're trying to learn something, you have to be consistent. You have to show up every day. And I kept on, mistakes were a part of the learning process, okay? Sometimes I would have gone maybe far into the project. I'd have gone halfway into the project and I realized, oh my god, the measurements I'm trying to achieve are not the same as what the creator is making. Or I would just assume, some creators are really kind, they're very detailed with their explanations and stuff, but if you're learning one-on-one, someone would always tell you, no, if you're trying to achieve this size or if you're trying to make it like this is how you should go, blah blah blah. But learning on YouTube, I was on my own, making my own mistakes by myself, correcting them by myself. It I learned patience on YouTube because naturally I'm not a very patient person, but learning on YouTube actually taught me lots of patience, right? I had to practice, I had to show up consistently. Every project was an iteration of the previous one. If you've made it this far into the video, I think it's safe to say that you're enjoying it here. But have you subscribed? Have you? That single act alone goes a long way in keeping me motivated to show up here every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. Thank you. Now let's get back. What I even loved more about crochet bags when I eventually found my way is that most crochet bags are a repeated pattern. You hardly see crochet bags that involve double crochet, or crochet bags involve lots of repeated patterns, unlike crochet wears. Because trust me, if you're into crochet, you would know that crochet wears have like 1 million different patterns. And crochet bags, you just realize that crochet bags are an iteration of single crochet. For those who get those, if you know, you know, right? It was just me spending time on YouTube like every day, consistently. YouTube became my body, and this opened a path for me like nothing else ever did. Because now I literally find myself coming back to YouTube for almost everything. Anything I'm stuck with. No, now there's ChatGPT, of course, and I go to ChatGPT if I just want, answers, direct answers. But when it comes to wanting to learn something that is a process, that takes time, I literally come to YouTube and I just search. But like I said, it wasn't a walk in the park. And quite frankly, this video isn't just about crochet. It's about realizing that we are living in a world where information is more accessible than ever. Not just on YouTube, but many other platforms spread across the internet. And most of the times, the biggest thing standing between you and learning a new skill isn't money. It is a willingness to even start at all. And where does this willingness even start from? You have to be curious enough to want to learn. Curiosity is a powerful tool and all of us have it. We don't just feed it enough. Curiosity precedes confidence. You don't have to wait for the perfect conditions to have the perfect materials or the perfect whatever you're thinking about. I started with different kinds of yarns. Like I said, I ordered from China. The things came, they were not what I wanted. And I had to keep sourcing. I was just curious enough and wanted to get somewhere at this. So the first thing is to start. To be quite honest, lots of the yarns that I use today, maybe I'm trying to recreate a bag that a client sent to me, or I'm just trying to recreate a random bag. Most of the times, the yarn that I use or the material that I use are not even exactly the same yarns that the person who did the bag I'm trying to recreate used. But now I'm curious enough to see, oh, where would this lead me? I'm just excited about making new things, because there was a time when, like I said, I wasn't finding the yarns that I was looking for, right? So I started trying to adapt yarns that I use for dresses. I started to see, oh, maybe if I use maybe 5 or 6 strands, it would actually give something that is what we call in French fait semblant, something that looks similar to what I'm trying to recreate. I went and got yarns that I use to decorate dresses, that I use to different things, just to see if I use this, would I come up with something that maybe is kind of close to what I'm trying to recreate, and stuff like that, right? And so the bags I was creating from watching the tutorials, the bags I was creating using these yarns weren't perfect. I was watching these tutorials and the bags I was making weren't exactly perfect, but it was okay for me at the time because I was just curious enough. I knew that what was most important at the time was to understand how crochet bags are made, and also realizing that at that point I didn't have to be so focused on monetizing the skill. I just wanted to learn. And to the glory of God, eventually I found a supplier, and I got the materials. And let me just say this here, I'll probably talk more about it in my next video, right? But when I started my business, I didn't have money, right? When I eventually found a supplier that I could rely on, a lady there in Ghana, all I had was 60,000 francs. I didn't even have up to that because my brother at the time, he helped me buy the materials, and then he sent them to, he was traveling back home, so he brought the materials, and then I started the business. But before I actually started to sell, I had practiced with so many other materials that weren't exactly the materials that I needed, So when the materials eventually came, it was kind of easy because I had been practicing with, different things that I could find at the time. So when I eventually had what exactly I needed, it was, I wouldn't really say easy, but it was kind of easy, right? Yeah. So if there's something you've always wanted to learn, don't underestimate what a YouTube video can do for you. Mine didn't just teach me how to crochet. It introduced me to a version of myself that I had not met before. And I always say this, I always remember the first time when I eventually launched my crochet business and I sold the first batch of my bags. I remember I was at a salon and somebody paid for a bag. And when I received the money, I looked at my account balance and I was like, Elvin, you did this. Because for the first time in a long time, or maybe even for the first time in my life, I could actually see money in my account that was my money that I actually made from my business. That was a whole different emotion for me. Seriously, it was a whole new, I can't even express how I felt in that moment. But this was something that I had spent months trying to build. I had spent the previous months just trying to get materials, trying to get the perfect. Imagine I had just waited, until I get the perfect materials before I start. It would have taken me maybe another 6 months or another 3 months before I eventually launched. And who knows, I might have even given up before that time actually came, right? So if you're looking to learn something and you don't have, money to pay an expert, or you're not sure how, just go to YouTube, just search it and start with whatever it is that you have. Be curious enough to want to try out new things and see if what you have. I have a video, I think it's about my third video or so, where I talked about handmade skills that you can start with less than $10. If you're unsure of what to learn, especially as a stay-at-home mom, or whatever phase of your life that you're in, you can go back and watch that video. There's even a video where I talk about a step-by-step process of how you can learn a skill from YouTube. I talked about all of that already in one of my videos. So just go back, scroll, and find I think by now I already have lots of I have quite a number of videos where I talk about things like this on my channel. So just knock yourself out. And I cannot wait for you to tell me what your experience is. If you've experienced something like this, or if you want to try something, I would really like to know in the comment section. I'll be rooting for you, I'll be cheering for you. Just let me know in the comments. If you're enjoying my little story time, I'm sure you've subscribed already. Don't forget to hit the like button so the YouTube algorithm can push our video to reach more people, right? So we can get more people in our community. And you can also go a step further to hit the notifications bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So I'm going to see you again next week, same place, same time. Bye bye.